This is Paul. Welcome back to my channel, The Regular Paladin. And today I wanted to give you guys my opinion and review on the new finale that has come out for Game of Thrones Season 7. And it was freaking amazing, guys. And this is the episode that we have been waiting for all our lives. From Season 1, we have watched this show, and all we wanted is a positive episode. Now, you might not understand from my perspective because my friend kind of ruined it for me. Like, he saw some messages from some chat board, and then it's just like, these are the kind of spoilers 2 days before the actual episode came out. And I was like, I was not pissed because I don't mind the spoilers. No way. I like spoilers. It's like, yeah, I do like the surprise, but it's just for 10 seconds or 15 seconds. It doesn't matter, because when I say, for example, someone who hasn't watched Game of Thrones, when I say Ned Stark dies, they are not going to feel anything. And when they watch the show, obviously they're going to feel, because he's going to be your favorite character and suddenly he's dead. But the build-up is important. You will feel the build-up and you will see him die and you will feel more. And so I don't actually mind spoilers at all. So I didn't mind that when he said like these things, but I was scared because those things he said might have come true. And I watched the episode for the first time in a bit of desperation, and I was scared, and I was desperately hoping, clinging to the positiveness that something might cheerful happen. And it did happen in this episode. A lot of the things that happened in this episode was positive, and character wise they all stayed true to their characters. It was just a cool episode, and it was just a true episode, which many of the fans won't love. But to be honest with you, the way they have taken this approach is really nice, and I would give them 10 out of 10. There you go. Just before the start of everything that I'm about to say, I'm telling you right now, this finale gets 10 out of 10. The build up, the approach, the style, positiveness overall was really cool, and it's a must watch for everyone who isn't even a Game of Thrones fans. Just watch this episode to understand the show, the politics, the war and everything. It would be really cool. So first of all, let's just get into the episode now. The episode is 1 hour 20 minutes long, so it's a really big episode, and the first 40 minutes of it would be kind of shown in the same area. Now we know Game of Thrones is not your typical single-minded show. It shows a lot of different locations in a 50-minute episode. 8 locations, 9 locations, and you got to keep up with the pace of the story. And this time around, they were like 1 hour 20 minutes, but condensed to like 3 or 4 locations majorly. And those 4 locations were pretty important, like I think King's Landing, Dragonstone, Winterfell, and finally the Eastwatch. So these are the 4 main locations in this episode, and the story would revolve around those 4 locations. So it was really nice to showcase Winterfell in a cool way, which I'll get to in the later stages of the video. But it was shown in a good way finally. And what we want, what we need, and what is necessary would all be given to us in this episode. Just single episode they would give us, and I'm thankful for the writers and directors because they have done a good job. And I will give you guys an overview of season 7 as a whole in the next week or this week even. So I'll talk about the entire the production, direction, writing and everything in this season that went through, the changes that they have made for accommodating a cool thing in the season and various other stuff. But this episode pretty much was on the cards. Everyone expected something. Some fandom expected Jon and Dany to get intimate. Some fandom expected Tyrion to be a powerful character in a single episode. They haven't shown him like cool as he should be in this season, so they were expecting that. Some were expecting a Littlefinger to die, and some were expecting Cersei to be a bitch even more than she already is, and some expected Jaime to finally open his eyes. So everything that you ever expected would be happening in this episode. So go watch it. So first of all, 40 minutes time spent in King's Landing. So that's not an easy task again in this show, because whenever things get serious, the screenplay changes to some other stuff. They kind of use a intermediate sub story to calm yourself in the main story, and that approach would not be taken in this one. It's purely King's Landing, 40 minutes, and every character that you ever knew will be there. With everyone will have importance as well. Everyone would have a conversation, everyone would have a meetup, and I just love the way that it happened. And people can say no, I didn't like it or whatever. They can disapprove of what I say, but you gotta accept they tried their level best to show a single shot of happenings, like the one story. The dead are coming, accept our truths. That's the main concept of the entirety of the episode, and they did it with like no cuts, no changes, no focus change and everything. They just finished one script and they just finished one part, and then they moved on to the next, which was really nice for this franchise, for the season and everything. So what happens in the first 40 minutes is pretty much more reunions, and this season has been a reunion sort of season where everyone meets everyone and everyone gets together. They have a happy time, even though they hate each other, they meet. So like everything happened in this season, and this was not a change. And where like Cersei and Tyrion would meet, Tyrion and Podrick would meet, Jaime and Brienne would meet. So a lot of things that would happen in this single episode and 40 minutes of that time frame. And first of all, again, Bronn and Jaime would be preparing, because they are the generals in the army, and Jaime is the commander and Bronn is one of the generals. So they will be preparing for the upcoming armies of Daenerys, and Unsullied would already be there. So they would be discussing about the Unsullied, the organized army. And suddenly Dothrakis would run in, the unorganized beasts they are. They will walk in, and you will see fear in Jaime's and Bronn's eyes. And that's what they would have enforced. That's what Daenerys would have enforced on the Battle of the Blackwater Bay. That would be showcased in a cool way, because the Unsullied would be organized and they would be standing in a single line, and the Dothrakis would run with their horses in the middle and screaming. So cool way. So kudos to the directors for pulling off that scene. It's not an important scene by any means, but just showcasing how Daenerys could control an army that is both organized and disorganized would be perfectly shown in that one shot. So it is important to me, at least. And the next would be like the entire Daenerys's council would be, along with Jon even, would be walking towards King's Landing, and they would have a conversation about what the dragon pit they are going to, how many people are living in King's Landing as a whole, what are the things that is there, so stuff, blah blah blah. So stuff like this, they will be talking about everything, and then they will reach the point. So everyone would be there. The Hound, so there was King Jorah, and Grey Worm and everyone. So it was a cool scene, and the meetup would be between like Podrick and Tyrion in the first sequence, and they will have a good talk. And Brienne would talk to Hound, and they will be having a conversation about Arya. So that will be really cool. And they will all go to the dragon pit, and they will wait. Cersei would walk in, and she will be with the mountain, and she will talk to the mountain like, they are my enemies, so kill them all if they disrespect me or if they do something out of hands. And that was a cool scene. But when the mountain would walk in, the Hound and mountain would have their first meeting after a while, and it was really cool, because we would not see these pair for a long time, and everyone would be there. It would be a tense sequence. And this Hound doesn't care about anything. He just goes up to Mountain and says, "Dude, I know who you are, and you know who I am, and you might be a shit as fuck when I see your face, but that doesn't matter. You know what's coming for you. It's not normal death. I am coming for you," and stuff like that. So that was an amazing sequence right there. And the Hound would go retreat to take the dead that they had to showcase to Cersei Lannister. And in the meanwhile, Daenerys would come to that dragon pit with her dragons, and she would not actually arrive with the party. So that won't. That would be the scene that would be shown in the trailers, where Jon, Tyrion, Varys, Davos would come instead of Daenerys, and we'll all be wondering where is Daenerys herself. We all know that she's going to be coming in the dragons, but it was a little bit too much. But whatever, she comes in Drogon. She comes with Drogon, and there will be only two dragons, and she will just get down, and then she will just talk. She will be the weakest link of them all, to be honest with you, in this sequence. I didn't see the fire in her eyes. I didn't see the passion. I don't know why they kind of downplayed Daenerys and overpowered Cersei. She then and there, she had everything. Daenerys had everything there. Even the Iron Fleet was there. If she thought of it, she could have burned down the entire ships. He could have killed Euron Greyjoy right then and there, and she could have threatened Cersei to the point where she gives up the throne, and she could have taken the throne right here and now, and she could have then cleaned up the entire house, whatever she wants to do, and then she could have thought about going to the north and helping, Jon Snow. So, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, the entire Unsullied army was there, entire Dothraki army was there. If the Dothraki was allowed inside, they would have killed pretty much everyone, and the Unsullied would have been there for organization, putting down the rebellions, putting down every people's fear down and everything. So, and two dragons obviously above everyone's head, constantly flying. And from the previous episodes, we know the ballistas don't do shit to them. So, why did they downplay her is beyond me. Because I thought when she walked down the dragon, Drogon, it was the pretty cool scene you would ever see in Game of Thrones, her intimidating power, to Cersei. Don't fuck around. I have a fucking dragon, I can ride it, I'm coming down from the dragon, which breathes fire. And it's fully grown. So, I thought when she sat down, and whenever, if Cersei provokes her, or Euron provokes her, no one provoked her, that's the problem. There was no heated argument before the actual conversation began. So the episode was 1 hour 20 minutes long. They could have easily stretched it out even more, and they could have shown the power of Daenerys right then and there. Don't fuck around, Cersei. I know, you can't easily win this war, and mercenary group, golden groups, it doesn't cost you shit. Do this, and then the dragon's burning everyone there to the ground, and she just takes King's Landing pretty easily. But I don't know, it didn't seem right to me, because they would talk, Daenerys would talk, she will have a conversation here and there, but it didn't seem like the Daenerys that we saw in this season. She was all fired up. She was like, I'm the dragon queen, I'm the queen that promised, blah blah blah. She didn't do any of that. She was just sat down there, calm now. Okay, given the fact she just lost her kid, cool, but she's not a normal character. She's powerful. So that was a mistake for me that I found that I didn't like in this episode, whatever. Beyond that, I gave it 10 out of 10, so you might understand how great the episode was. So then Tyrion would talk about things, and obviously Euron would be joking about Tyrion's hide and blah blah blah. That small stuff would happen, and the main sequence would be when Hound brings the box where the dead body is saved, or the army of the dead is saved. It won't activate right after he opens the the basket. And I was like, oh shit, it has actually tricked everyone. But he would just kick the box, and it would run out screaming straight to Cersei's throat. And he would have a chain, so he would just push it back, and that would be a great sequence. And then Daenerys would say I have all seen them and I've faced them. They are actually real. And Jaime would be like, how many of them are there? More than 100,000 at least. And he would get scared, and Cersei would not even care, she would not just care. And Euron would actually walk out of there. He would be like, no, I'm fine. I'm just taking the Iron Fleet back. I don't want this shit to be happening. I am scared. I'm actually scared, and I'm going out. So he would walk out of there, and then Jon Snow would be asked to bend the knee and stop for the support from the south to the north. He would say, no, I already bended my knee for Daenerys, and I'm not going to do, I don't have two queens and everything. Cersei would be pissed off as hell. She would just walk inside to her throne. She would ascend to her throne, and Jaime would be like, I'm loyal to my queen, I'm also going back. They don't Everyone there will understand the urgency of the situation except Cersei. That's the problem. She would be the queen who would not open her ears to listening. And Tyrion would be like, mate, I love your, oath and everything, but have some humility. Just lie one time or another. When this situation is pretty much important, we are fucked. And that would be the actual quote he would say, we are fucked. And he would be like, I'll talk to Cersei myself, I'll just go there alone. And Daenerys would be like, no, I didn't come here to have my hand murdered. And he would be like, no, let's just, I know that, but let me just go and talk to her about certain things. She will listen probably, and they would have a conversation there. And that sequence, I want you to enjoy it on your own, because I can't talk more about it, because it's an important scene, and it would be an amazing scene, and I really want you to see it about and tell me how you feel about that scene. He will be like, if I'm really that problematic for you, just have Sir Gregor kill me. And she won't say the word because she loves her brother. And Jaime would be like, I think I'm the stupidest Lannister of all. They will have a good brother and brother moment there. So that would all be heartwarming. And Cersei will walk back after the speech with Tyrion, and then she will be like, that would be the grandest scene, where she'll be like, no, I'm not gonna stop marching you to your lands. I'm just gonna stop everything, and I'm gonna move my army to north to defend against the death, with you and Jon Snow's army. So I was like, holy shit, Cersei has changed. No, she's just a bitch. And that sequence was pissing me off, because she would say all this, and then she would go back, and everyone would be going back to their own stuff. And Daenerys would go back to Dragonstone, and she would be preparing for the long ride to north, to Winterfell, and they would actually do it. And every one of them, and Jorah would say, like, fly with the dragons there. Everyone hates you there, and if they see you, they will kill you probably. And Daenerys would be like, no, if I go with Jon Snow. Jon Snow would say, like, if she comes with me, we can have an alliance, and people can see how we are aligned, and they won't hate on us. So that would probably be the scene where it would define their love pretty much, and they would go to try to go to Winterfell. And during these sequences, they would show Winterfell, where Littlefinger would be a little bitch, and he would be harassing Sansa, saying like, Arya's there to kill you, assume the worst, blah blah blah. And I was like, I gave up after the last episode. The Winterfell plot, I gave up. But this episode, guys, I saw like the Instagram post of Sophie Turner and Maisie Williams posting, a cool post, like Maisie standing like this, Sophie Turner standing normally, and so I thought they're taking this pic in a happy way. So I thought something good would be happening in Winterfell finally. So I was mentally prepared for that sequence, and I didn't expect for the worst. But it was really frustrating to see like Littlefinger being a little bitch, because everyone knows that he's the killer there, and I don't know why everyone is like accepting him as a swan, whatever it is, name for the House Stark. I don't understand. So I was pretty pissed at that sequence. But after that sequence, he will just walk with Sansa, and he will say like, bring in your sister, she's the culprit and everything, blah blah blah. But this is the finest ever sequence in Game of Thrones, where like every one of the Stark kids would know what Littlefinger wants. So she will be like, do you accept your murder charges and treason charges against you? Arya would be standing in the middle of the courtroom, and I thought I saw the smirk on Arya's face, let's just get on with it. And I was like, I was expecting that's when my friend's text came into my mind, like he said Arya Stark would die, and I was expecting a fight sequence there, because there would be the soldiers there, and all the lords would be standing on the right side, and I was like, holy shit, when she would say like, let's just get on with it, I thought she's gonna fight everyone, she's gonna kill everyone there, but someone will betray her and kill her, and my mind was going all over the place. But it was a simple scene, you know. Sansa would just turn and say, Lord Baelish, do you accept these charges against you? And I was like, holy shit, this is really happening. And I was an happy man at that moment. I really laughed, and it was a magical scene. It was really magical, because at that moment I understood that Sansa was planning this all along, and Arya was in on it as well. They were like, you did this to my aunt and my mother, you know, you turned the sisters against each other, and you did the same thing here. That's your mistake. Now we realize this, and I'm a slow learner, but I learn eventually, and you are the reason that my father died for treason. And he will be like, no, no one was here, no one was there, no one knows. And then Bran Stark will be, you know, dude, you held a knife to my father's throat and said, I told you not to trust me. He will be like this, and that's it. Lord Baelish would give up. He would be like begging for mercy, and Arya would say, this was not given by Tyrion Lannister, as he would say in the previous episodes. This Valyrian steel, it was yours, wasn't it? You tried to kill Brandon Stark. You were conspiring against my family with Cersei Lannister and you know, Joffrey Lannister, right? And everyone would be silent in that room, and even the lords will be like, no, I'm not gonna help Lord you know, Littlefinger here. And he will be literally begging for mercy. Sansa, if we can talk this alone, you know, I love you and stuff like that. And Sansa will be like, no, sorry mate, you die. And Arya would just thank you for the directors and the writers for doing this. It was my wish, and I'm 100% sure that it was the fandom's wish. Just kill him off already, I said in the previous 2 or 3 videos ago, and they did. Thank you for that. Then they will again show the Dragonstone's preparation and everything. They will show Cersei and Jaime would be preparing for the expedition in the north, and Cersei will be like, why are you going north? Are you stupid, or are you an idiot, or you are a traitor, or whatever you are? You are not a good Lannister. And he will be pissed. He will be like, you promised an entire army to go up north. What are you planning for? No, I'm here. I'm gonna stay here, and I'm gonna be like waiting here and let them fight the monsters. You know, the Dothrakis, the dragons, the White Walkers. All of them are monsters. Let them fight each other. You know, whoever wins, we can easily take on them. You know, if the dead wins, we can take them on. If the living wins, we can take them on. And Jaime would be like, are you fucking kidding me, woman? You promised them, and you're like, what are you going to do? She will be like, go to the first sequence where Euron Greyjoy would leave. You think he left just for fun? No, he is going to a mercenary company, picking up their men, elephants, horses, and then he's going to bring them to us. And I thought that was the stupidest mistake ever, because imagine this. Jaime would say this in the show. It's like a quote. If the dead wins and they march south, we are fucked. And if the living wins and if they come march south and see that we betrayed them, we are going to get fucked. So what are your plans? She'll be like, if the dead wins, we can take them on. If the living wins, they are going to be having fewer men, so we can easily take them out. You know, the dragons are vulnerable. So she still, in her mind, thinks that the dragons are vulnerable. She only saw 2 dragons instead of 3, and she thinks like something happened to that dragon, and I know that they can be killed. Mate, your ballista didn't do any shit to the dragon. You know, it took a hit, but in the next episode we just saw just like this, Drogon would choose just like this, and then he would move on. So it was pretty easy for everyone to move on, and your ballistas are not going to do anything. And if the dead wins, let's just imagine if the dead wins, and hope that doesn't happen. But if the dead wins, everything would turn against the living. So every army that Daenerys has, the Unsullied, the Dothrakis, would turn into death. They already have 3 giants, more than that possibly, a dragon, and 100,000 men. Double that with probably a lot of dire wolves, even dragons, dead animals, and they march south. What is Cersei gonna do? I don't know. I thought at that moment, one of the, you know, kind of like spoilers my friend gave was Jamie would kill Cersei, and I was pretty happy that is happening. He will be the Queen Slayer that I already talked about in my channel. Like I said, he will turn into a Queen Slayer and kill Cersei for her madness. But that didn't happen in this one. He would just leave King's Landing when the snow would start. He would be like, I don't believe you. Just, in a shitty way, you are a shit. You're a piece of shit. You can do whatever you want. I'm going out of here. You conspired against me, the commander of your army. You know what? I'm just getting out of here. And he would leave King's Landing to go to, to go north and fight amongst the actual people that are actually fighting the dead. Fine, everything would end here, but no, we would be shown the East Watch, and you would be like, why? It would be near the end of the episode, like 10 or 15 minutes to go, and pretty much now you're exhausted from seeing all this awesomeness, and you will be like, what more can they show to make me get excited even more than I already am? Well, Night King riding a dragon sounds cool. Sounds exciting. Blue flames sounds exciting. How about a dragon destroying the entire wall, killing everyone on it, including Tormund? Rip, my friend, rip. Let's just be honest here. He's not dead, but they would show like him cringing on to a little bit of land, and after that scene, they would just show the wall crumbling and everyone dying there. So I think he's dead, but knowing the Night King, he would resurrect all those people that died there to join his army. So his army is just growing, and I don't know how they are going to defeat him. Well, there's two situations. In this sequence, we would see Samuel Charlie returning to Winterfell, and we would actually go back to Winterfell after these sequences, and it would not be a great, important sequence of any means, but he would be carrying news about, the White Walkers and how to kill them permanently, maybe. And he would talk to Bran Stark, and they would have an interesting conversation. Well, I want to make a separate video of this, but importantly, they would actually confirm that R plus L equal to J, and Bran would know only about the origin of Jon Snow, not his actual name. He would just know like he's not Jon Snow, Jon Sand, the bastard name of their people. But Samuel would say, no, I saw like Rhaegon Targaryen would get an annulment and he would actually marry Lyanna Stark. So he's not a bastard, he is Aegon Targaryen. Yes, Jon Snow's Aegon Targaryen, the rightful heir to the throne. Well, in this sequence, while they would be talking about this, how they got married, a romantic sequence would be going on, and then they would be talking about, he loved her, she loved him, blah, blah, blah. And during that sequences, Jon and Dany would get intimate. I don't know, aunt and nephew, but whatever. And the main plot here is they are laying for the next season is Dany would say, I can't have babies, and Jon would ask, who told you that? And a witch who killed my husband or whatever, she said I can't have babies. You think that she's not a reliable resource? And Jon would say that. So I think Jon would bear a child with Dany, so that would be actual opening, like when she would get pregnant, she would be happy. So she already lost a kid, so this kid would be like a cool addition for her, and she will love that baby, and that baby would be an actual Targaryen, a successor, a real successor for her throne, a claim to the throne. So I think that would be the case, because they will be intimate in this season end, and Bran would be talking like he's not a bastard at all, he's the rightful heir to the Iron Throne and stuff like that. We have to tell him. So that was a cool sequence. And yeah, that during that sequence, after that sequence, like Bran would have a vision for the wall, and then this would happen, and the dead would pass march that. So that's not my thing. My thing is how they are going to defeat them. Dragonglass, fine. fine, dragon glass is fine. Everyone is going to have a weapon made of dragon glass, and they are going to defeat the dead. But one wrong mistake, one mistake, and if they die, they are going to turn against their own people. So it's pretty much necessary, pretty much easy for the Night King, just kill them all, turn them against them, and march upon them and kill them all. I don't know how it's going to happen, but we have to wait 2 years, I think, for the next season. Yeah, I am sad about that, but that's not official yet. They are saying it's 2 years, but it might not be. It might be the shooting starts in October, so I think they might even release it next year probably. But I don't know. If they are going to take 2 years time, then they are going to release it on January or February, pretty much early as they could. No one knows. It's still speculation, guys. So my review, I already gave it 10 out of 10. A must watch, a positive episode finally. Even with all these negative quirks for the people, they just acted true to their characters. That's what makes this episode a positive one instead of annoying one. So I will probably watch this again. So you guys must too. Like this video if you like this my review. I just talked about all the things that are there in the episode and everything, and I'll maybe talk about the theories from this one, my own predictions for the next season, an entire overview of season 7. I'll talk about this probably in this week. I'll just cover up the Game of Thrones thing and I'll just finish it off. So thank you guys for watching. Hit that like button, share the video with your friends and family, subscribe to the channel for everything that is movies, TV shows, reviews, reaction, theories, predictions, overviews and everything. And I'll see you guys on the next one. Bye.